Hey everybody, and welcome back to our Be a GM mode commentary for the Detroit Red Wings. We are here right at the midpoint of the season, currently sitting outside of a playoff spot with a record of 18, 19, and 3. In the last video, we did make a couple of trades at the start of the season. We did send out Jimmy Howard as well as Johan Franzen. We got back a pretty good prospect defenseman from Winnipeg as well as a second round pick from the LA Kings. I stopped the video around here because our team was kind of struggling. We're having a hard time scoring a lot of goals. We are in a 4-game win streak right now. At the end of the last video, I did pose the question of what this team really needs, as well as offering the suggestion of putting Datsuk and Zetterberg together and really stacking that top line. I did go ahead and make a few line changes, nothing too crazy. I wanted Riley Sheahan here to move up because he does have top 6 potential. He's listed as a third line scorer. I think him with Richards and Yurko may be a pretty good third line. And Helm, although he is listed as a left winger, his face-off category is incredible. It's an 85 overall, so he will do very well down there. In terms of special teams, I did, like I said, go ahead and keep these two together up here. Still have Tatar with Yurko down here. So what I really want to do, I have taken quite a few notes what this team needs. I took into account the comments and suggestions, and I wrote down a list of trade targets and who we can really afford to give up. But before I do that, I want to sim probably between 5 to 10 games the slow way, just to see who's producing and who's not, to see if the line changes are all we need. So we'll go ahead and do that right now. Zetterberg on that first line does manage to tie this game up, and the third period really really screwed us there. The Sharks managed 37 shots on goal, and we lose 4-1. Alright, so like I said, I want to go ahead. We still have a little bit of time before we need to make any moves, but we're getting to the point now where if we want to make the playoffs, we really have to have a strong push. If by 50 games we're not looking so hot, I am going to go ahead and make those trades. So again, Zetterberg and Nyquist. So that first line, I think moving Zetterberg up really is going to spark Nyquist. And Nyquist and Tatar, and they tie it up. Athanasio gets us our 5th. Mrazek had a very weak game. We managed 41 shots, 5 goals, which is, understandable. 24 shots on goal with 5 goals is not so great. Can we win it in overtime? Shootout, we lose. Alright, so can't really fault the offense on that one. Zetterberg from Nyquist, Nyquist from Datsuk and Zetterberg, Tatar from Yurko and De Kaiser, Nyquist. So I'd say the Tatar goal was a power play goal. But yeah, so that, I think moving, Zetterberg up is going to spark Nyquist. That first line's looking good. I'm thinking our second line is our weak link here. If by we're going to take a look at the point totals at the 50 game mark, but I'm thinking it may be time to send either Abdelkader or Tatar, send them out because they're just not getting it done. There we go. So last 2 games we have at least gone to overtime. This one we do pull out the win in a shootout. And I complain about the second line, and Tatar manages 3 assists, Abdelkader a goal and an assist, and Larkin a goal and an assist. So second line actually stepped up really well there. Considering moving Abdelkader over Yurko, simply because Yurko's potential is a lot higher, he's a lot younger, his contract's a lot better. Abdelkader has an 8-year contract, which is absolutely horrendous. So I'd really like to get rid of that. If he were performing well, it'd be a different story, but he's really not. Mrazek's actually not performing that well right now either. Whew. Yeah, that's really bad. So, we were evened up 2-2 going into the third, and Mrazek again drops the ball. 3 goals is enough to win a game. I mean, when you get 3 goals against the opponent, you expect your goaltender to perform better than that. So not a good performance there by Mrazek. We'll go ahead and do one more game simulating this way. I think I am going to keep the top line the way that it is. Nyquist and Richards. Can we hold on to the win? There we go. Sheahan and Nyquist. So moving Sheahan up. He's scored a goal now. Nyquist has really got the boost that he needs. Looks like Sheahan and Richards had a really good game there. Zetterberg with 2 assists as well. Nyquist with 2 goals. So yeah, and Mrazek had a good rebound game there. So 5 games there. I think the line changes were pretty good. We'll go ahead and simulate 5 more games just real quick here. That'll get us just past the All-Star break. So hopefully we can get some wins here. We are at 500. Okay, we're above 500 for probably the first time this entire season. Okay, let's go ahead and send our scout out. In last video, I did kind of mention that we needed some defensive prospects, but kind of looking into it, it seems like, you know, we have Zetterberg and Datsuk, but outside that, we're really lacking in terms of playmakers and snipers on this team. So I'm actually going to take a look at forwards for a bit. We're on a nice little win streak here. We'll go ahead and check out the player morale. It seems like the line changes are working. Glenn Denning is not happy. He wants ice time. Let's give him the tough talk here. See how he responds to that. Negative effect. All right. Well, you're not going to get any more ice time acting that way. So tough. So we are 24, 21, and 4. One more game here, and then we're going to take a look at possible trades, and we lose 4-2. All right. So we are in a playoff position for the first time this season. 50 games in, Datsuk does have 44 points on the year. So we'll see who's performing. Take a look at the forwards first. So yeah, our top line's doing pretty well. Zetterberg and Nyquist both with 17 goals. Tatar is doing well on the power play. He's got 3 goals, second best on our team. He's fourth on our team, or forwards anyway, in points. Richards, look at this, 26 points in 35 games played. Absolutely made the right call there by bringing him up from the AHL. Honestly, if Larkin weren't listed as a second line forward, I would probably have Brad Richards on the second line. Abdelkader down here, 25 points, getting second line time and power play time. It's time for him to go. He's got less goals than Sheahan, and Sheahan spent most of his time on the fourth line. So yeah, if you take a look here, his contract, he's $4.2 million. Not horrible salary, but that year's remaining. He's 28 years old with 8 years remaining on that contract. I definitely want to get rid of that. Because, I mean, there's going to come a time where we need to, you know, sign Larkin long term. He's got 3 years remaining. But, you know, Tatar is going to run out soon. Nyquist in 4 years, he's going to definitely want more money than that. And, I mean, a lot of our salary cap is going to clear by these two. I'd say Datsuk will retire before that contract runs out. He may retire at the end of this season. Which brings me to my point. Let me bring up the lines here real quick. If you look here, we have Zetterberg and Datsuk both listed as center playmakers. They are 35 and 37 years old, respectively. And then you have Gustav Nyquist, which is listed as a sniper. This is their role. This is how they play the game. Going down here, Thomas Tatar, two-way forward. Larkin, two-way forward. Abdelkader is a power forward. Yurko's a sniper who is not producing. Brad Richards, again, he's going to retire very soon. Another two-way forward, two-way forward, two-way forward. A young sniper. Looking at the AHL for guys that can be coming up soon. You have Mantha as a sniper. But, you know, other than the guys that are on their way out, this team is severely lacking playmakers and snipers. I have jotted down that the thing that this team really needs more than anything is a young, top 6 center playmaker for when Zetterberg and Datsuk retire. You know, Larkin's going to be great, and so are Athanasio and Sheahan, sorry, but all of them are two-way forwards. Two-way forward is, you know, very good, especially for the penalty kill and stuff like that. But I've noticed in this game that two-way forwards tend to not produce as much as a playmaker or a sniper. And it's great to have a couple of really good, two-way forward centers, but you need those playmakers to drive the play and to give guys like Nyquist here the good passes so he can score. He's going to have a better season if we have better playmakers with him. So I think we need to go out and look for a young top six center. We really need a second line right winger to replace Abdelkader. Hopefully that will get Tatar kind of jump started. Again, he's a two-way forward. And you can see there his production compared to a Nyquist, night and day difference. He's only got 95 shots on goal compared to 135 from Nyquist. And then the third thing I really think we may need, which we're not going to worry about it this year, this will be something in the off season. We need a really strong first line potential left winger, preferably a playmaker or a sniper, again, to help boost Nyquist. Now I do have some players that we can move. Abdelkader is one. Helm is one that we can consider simply because this is last year on his contract. And we have, plenty of other guys coming up that we could replace him with. In terms of defense, we could move not De Kaiser, but we could either move Quincy here or Eriksson because they are both listed as top 4 defensemen, and, one of them is playing outside their role. Eriksson would be ideal simply because of, again, 5 years remaining, $4.2 million, compared to 1 year remaining, so we don't necessarily have to re-sign Quincy. Our defensive core is good, but if you look down here in the AHL, we have Keendle here. Easily can slot in there in that top 6 role. Be absolutely fine. Same thing with Xavier Wallet. I think that's how you pronounce it. I've heard it a million different ways. He's listed as a minor top 2 defenseman, but regardless, he's going to need to get the call-up next year. And there's plenty of guys down here that, can move up if we need to move Keendle up. So, we're at the 50-game mark. We are in a playoff spot. I do want to go ahead and make at least one trade here. I want to get this team pretty much together. That way, by the time we get to the trade deadline, our morale will hopefully have rebounded by sending a couple of these guys away. We could go the route, the team's playing well right now, why not just play it out? But there's a player here, Rickard Rakell, who is unhappy on his team, and I would like to get him now before some type of morale boost will increase and he's no longer, the trade value is not this low. So I went ahead and, jotted some notes, and it seems like we can actually get him pretty cheap. I'm going to actually send back Abdelkader. We're going to get Rakell, and we're going to throw in a draft pick here because Abdelkader is worth a little more. Let's try to get this third from Minnesota. Will it go through? Absolutely. So we will go ahead. I'll make sure all the line changes are fine, but we'll just go ahead and put Rakell in where Abdelkader was for now. That may be where we leave him anyway. So now we have that playmaker center of the future, not Joakim Anderson. If you look here, he is 22 overall, elite potential. He's listed as a third line scoring forward. If you look at that offensive awareness, that's going to go up. His defense is pretty good. Shot blocking is not great, but his awareness and stick checking are fine. Face-offs, a little better than Larkin's. I'm going to keep Larkin as the center, though. But yeah, I think Rakell, he's 22 years old. He's got plenty of room to grow. So that is one of the trades that I've really been looking at. The other one here, I think this is going to be our big left wing first line playmaker of the future, is Toivu Teravainen. Again, the trade value on him is not that high. We could arguably go after Artemi Panarin, but let's be real, they are not going to want to give him up, even if his trade value is that low. It's a stretch to say that they're going to want to give up Teravainen, but if we offer them, I figured this out again, before I started this video to save time. If we offer them Quincy Again, with 1 year remaining, we're not going to re-sign Quincy most likely. We offer them that, and the second we got from LA, we can get Teravainen as well as a third and 2/4. And again, this not only moves a contract that we're not going to re-sign, but it gets us a player that can hopefully contribute. Alright, so this didn't happen before. So it's saying here, doing this trade would actually make them have to put Van Riemsdyk on waivers, which is interesting. So they have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yeah, they have 6. So if we throw one of these guys in, let's see, he's got 1 year left on Roosevelt. Van Riemsdyk just got 3 years left. Why don't we go ahead and just bring back Roosevelt? Let's take a look at his stats first. He is listed as top 6. He's right-handed, which would be nice. Very poised, good discipline, and offensive awareness is okay. Good defense. It's 37, so again, it's a contract we can kind of let go after this year. We can throw that in. We'll take out one of the 4ths. Oh, and then now we have too many skaters in the organization. All right, let me check this real quick. We're not going to waste too much time on this because if it doesn't work, it just doesn't work. Let's throw in this Lashov. Whoa. Yeah. All right, so it's looking like Teravainen might be out of the question. But yeah, I was looking over your all's comments. There was one suggestion to go after Bo Horvat, which Bo Horvat is a tremendous player. You can see here, very good defensively, very good senses. Shot could be better. He's very physical, great skating. But again, if you look at that role, or the type of player he is, he's a second or two-way forward. We've got so many of those already, and I know I think his name's Benning, the GM for Vancouver, has made plenty of bad trades in the past. They are not going to want to give up Bo Horvat. The other trade suggestion, which was in line with something that I think we do need, is a right-wing playmaker. And Yuri Sakic, however he is pronounced, was suggested. He's 23 years old. He's listed as a depth forward. A little too old, I think, for my taste. But I do agree. I think a right-wing playmaker is something we absolutely need to go for. I did look at Matt Zuccarello on the New York Rangers because second line right-wing playmaker to play with Tatar would be great, but there was just no way I could get this trade to work. If you look, Zuccarello would really be the perfect player for that. Of course, I can't click on him. He's got outstanding offensive awareness. He fits the role perfectly. He's got a good shot. His production could be better, but I think if he were playing with with a better line, maybe he would produce a little better. But it's just not going to work. So I think right now we've got our young top 6 center playmaker for the future. I think right now that's probably the only trade we're going to do. We'll go ahead and simulate, see how Raquel does on that second line. Alright, so Larkin got a goal. Potentially Raquel could have got an assist on that. Emery's in the net. And Nyquist got a goal. So we do lose, but Raquel did manage 1 assist. So made an impact in his first game as a Detroit Red Wing. And he's going to continue to get that morale boost because he's playing above, his suggested role. He's getting tons of ice time. He was unhappy when we traded for him. He's got tons of potential, so people may question why would Anaheim give that up. But if he's unhappy, then... And we get shut out. Offense is continuing to be a problem on this team. We really need to find a way to get that going. Let's go ahead and simulate through the next 3 games here. Hopefully we don't go below 500 again, and we do. So let's take a look at the player morale real quick. Alright, Glendening is now disengaged. Lovely. So you won't regret trading for me. I will prove you made the right call. Welcome aboard. I think that was a trade that will leave both teams happy. Positive effect. There we go. Alright, so Ericsson's not real happy that Ablocator was traded, which is why I went ahead and did that before the trade deadline. Sometimes you have to make decisions that are tough. I think it'll make us a better team. I need you to understand that. Positive effect. Mrazek, I have to admit, I've been underperforming lately. The numbers are black and white. We need you to produce. We traded away Jimmy Howard because we need you to be that #1 starting goaltender. Positive effect. Glendening hates me, so your job's to focus on playing, not evaluate the front office. No effect. Alright. So our morale could be better. It's only sitting there at a 70. We need to get some wins here. I think, there we go. So we win 2 in a row. But look at that. We had a 4-game losing streak. So hopefully we are turning this around. We'll go ahead and simulate the next 3 games as well. We need to get a winning streak going. That is not a winning streak. That's a losing streak. And we are below 500 again. Alright, so the season is starting to kind of look lost. We'll go ahead and simulate one more week here. We'll take a look at the stats. I mean, we're still in the race. 28-28-5 is not a great record at all. But we'll go ahead and simulate to the trade deadline here. But it seems like we're in a division that's pretty weak. So we could still manage to nab one of those playoff spots. There we go. That's a big win. So Pulkkinen, Tatar, Helm, and Datsuk get goals. 2 of those were empty netters. Raquel's picking up assists. Seemed like Helm had a pretty good game there, and so did Pulkkinen. Seems like the 4th line in general. 4th line was the only line to score a goal that wasn't an empty netter. So it's good to get contributions up and down the lineup. Alright, so we'll go ahead and simulate this last game. We'll get to the trade deadline. Alright, so Nyquist on Niemi and Green. So we do manage to win that game as well. We've won 4 of the last 5. We're 4-0-1 in our last 5. 6-3-1 in our last 10. Not bad. We are here at the trade deadline, and alright, that is a lot to be offering up for Ham Hughes. I don't think we need him. We're not really looking for a defenseman. So we're sitting 30-28-5. We are 7th in our division now. Yeah. Oh. So let's take a look here. So yeah, we are 7th in our division, but if you look, we are 1 point behind the Panthers and 2 points behind all of these. So basically, let's take a look at the Metro division real quick. Yeah, so right now, 68 and 67 are holding the wild card spots. 67 would also put us in, the 3rd divisional spot in the playoffs. So we are right there in the race. We're only 2 points behind. That's 1 win. So we're right there. I don't think we should blow up the team, because like I said, we are right there. We're still in the playoff hunt, but it could be risky. If we don't move guys like Datsuk and Zetterberg, we could miss the playoffs. They could retire, and we're just left with nothing. But I don't think we should blow up the team at all. That first line's really, really getting it done. I think since moving Zetterberg up, we've had a lot better production out of Datsuk and Nyquist. Tatar's doing really well. I think Larkin's actually picked it up too. Yurko's still not doing too great, so maybe we do go look for a better 3rd line right winger. He's still got some trade value. I really don't anticipate him growing much more. He's a -14. And, Richards is getting tons of points, so it's not a line problem. Shahan's right here, too, with 25 points. Which 25 points in 63 isn't horrible for a 3rd liner, but for someone with top 6 potential, I would expect a little more out of him. Cronwall's getting it done. I'm very pleased with Cronwall's production. Mike Green's right there, too. 10 goals. We look here. Raquel played 13 games, so he wasn't even getting ice time over in Anaheim. He's only managed 3 assists. So may want to move him down for the time being. So what we could do, and I'll offer this suggestion to you guys. Let me go to edit lines here. With him only having 3 assists in 13 games, may not be ready for that position. We could move Richards up, have Shahan take the center position here, or vice versa. We could keep Richards there, have Shahan come up. I think Richards honestly deserves that chance, though. I'll leave that to you guys. Let's take a look and see. So Raquel isn't getting power play time, so should we give him power play time? That's another question. I would say not. I think that first line is doing really well. Maybe move Tatar up. Tatar's really turned it around. I'm glad that we hung on to him. Real quick, we are going to end the video here at the trade deadline. I want you guys to suggest any potential trades. We're going to go ahead and look through the trading block of each team. There may be things that pop out to us. Really, I think the main thing is looking for maybe a higher scoring third line right winger, or like a dedicated second line right wing playmaker for Tatar. So nothing really here on the Ducks. Doan and Limback, just picks from Boston. Gianta, 37, he's got 2 years left. I probably wouldn't want to pick up somebody like that. Orshio, picks. Let's see, Chicago has Gustafson. Nobody there. Nobody there. Fiddler and Eves. Let's take a look at Eves here. 13 goals, 17 assists. So Eves might be somebody that we look for. I think he could fit in that third line position pretty well. His contract does run out, but he's got 30 points on the season, which is, that's pretty high on our team, and that trade value is very low. We could probably pick him up for a second round pick or something like that, if that is something we want to pursue. Don't really need defensemen. Again, don't need defensemen. We could, if we were going to go the route of blow up the team and go after prospects, you have Zykov and Watson here. Nobody really there. Nobody on Montreal. Again, if you're wanting to blow up the team, there's a top 4 defenseman. Ranta and Yandel. Now, I know we said we don't really need defensemen, but how is Yandel doing? 30 points on the season, 10 goals, 20 assists. Trade value is pretty high on him, but again, we may be able to make that work somehow. Nobody there. Eliash. Nobody. Yeah, so it's looking like a lot of these teams don't really have much to offer. Arcabello. Here's Verbata. His trade value is pretty high, but that may be... He's listed as a first liner. 21 goals, 19 assists. He could be a very, very good addition to that second line. Again, a lot of trade value, but I think he could be somebody we go after. His contract's up at the end of the year, so he's purely a rental player. Nobody on Washington, and nobody really on the Jets. So we'll go ahead and take a look at the point totals around the league. I actually do want to take a look and see if there's any like really high scoring right wingers on teams that maybe aren't in a playoff position, or that we could get pretty cheap for that second line. Because yeah, if you look here, we have one really, really high scoring right winger, and then we have Yurko and Pulkkinen. Pulkkinen's got 4 points less than Yurko, but he's a positive player, and he's playing on the fourth line. Yurko's on the third line, and he's just, I'm not really satisfied with his production. So let's take a look at the entire NHL. Take a look at the right wingers first. Alright, so goals scored. You have Tarasenko with 42 goals. You have James Neal. None of these guys are going to be cheap. Michael Frolik may be a pretty inexpensive player to pick up. He is on Calgary. Might be somebody to look into. Nyquist is right there, so Frolik's got as many goals as Nyquist, who is pretty sure leading our team in goals. You got Perry, Yakupov, Okposo, Verbata's right there too. Verbata might be a very good one to go after. Yager may be good to go after too, as strange as that is at 44 years old. Joffrey Lupul, Hornquist. So no real young guys, but you know, if we're committed to trying to make the playoffs, then one of these guys, one of the older kind of veteran players, may be the best choice. Alright, Zuccarello's right there, 37 points. Let's just take a look at all skaters in the NHL. So Tarasenko is leading in goals with Ovechkin, Stamkos, Neal, and Sagan. Points, Ben and Tarasenko are currently tied. Mirror images, 25 goals, 42 assists, 42 goals, 25 assists. Again, nobody real young that would likely have lower trade value here. But you can see there, Datsuk is, you know, he's right there in the running. He's got a good point total. Let's take a look at defensemen. So Ekman Larson, Carlson, Weber, Keith, the other Carlson, Subban, Doughty, Schultz, Riley. No way we'd be able to pick up Riley as much as I'd love to. So here's all these guys. Maybe a Torrey Krug could be somebody we could pick up, but again, it's highly unlikely. Cronwall's right there. It's about the same pace as a Michael Del Zotto. Justin Falk, not really doing that well. So yeah, that is pretty much all that I want to do in this video. We are currently right there in the race for the playoff position, but I think we do need to do a couple of trades. There's a couple of things we could do to improve this team. I'm curious to see if Brad Richards can kind of lift that second line, see how Raquel does down there, but I would really like to move Yurko. So yeah, there's a couple of names that, you know, we talked about. Frolik is one, Verbata, who would go right here. But yeah, just be sure to leave any comments and suggestions. That can be a line change, a trade, people to look for. In the next video, we will go through the trade deadline. We'll go ahead and make all the trades we need, and we will get through the last 19 games of the regular season. Hopefully gear up for a playoff run. So thanks everybody for watching. Be sure to leave your comments below. Subscribe if you haven't already, and I will see you next Saturday.